So you've just found the perfect home and realized that it's within an HOA. So you're wondering, what should I look for when buying a home within an HOA? Well, there's several things, but the first thing to always look at and consider is their rules and regulations, also called their CC&Rs. When looking at the rules and regulations, there's a few things that I typically find clients are most interested in. The first one is, one, what are the remodeling restrictions that this community may have? This may include things like the fact that bedrooms have to be carpeted, or may include window coverings. The list goes on, and it's something you should consider if purchasing a home within an HOA. You should also look at the rules and regulations for things like, do they have pet policies as far as number of pets you can have, breeds of pets you can have, even weights of pets you can have? Do they have any rental restrictions or rules around use of your property? These are just a few things to consider when reviewing the rules and regulations. You also want to make sure that you look at the financials of the community. This is incredibly important and is going to be a big part of helping you make sure you understand what the financial risk of a potential assessment might be down the road. The best way to review the financials of any community within an HOA is really to look at three main things. The first one is just looking at the overall community maintenance. What do you see as far as how has the community been maintained? Are pool chairs new, or are they old and starting to rust? Have the buildings recently been painted? What do maybe the parking areas look like? This all will give you an idea of what is the financial health. However, you should never just trust this. You always want to look at the official documents. So a couple of the documents that I always review with my clients if they're purchasing within an HOA is, one, the operating budget, and two, the community's balance sheet. This will allow us to see how financially healthy is the HOA, which again is going to lead into potential future financial risk that you may carry if the community decides to have an assessment where all of a sudden you owe all this money you weren't planning on. The third thing that I recommend that everyone looks at if buying within an HOA is the HOA meeting minutes. The reason we want to look at these is, one, we want to see, is there any known deferred maintenance? A lot of times during the HOA is when they're going to talk about and people are going to bring up, hey, the roof isn't in great shape, or the sewer lines aren't in great shape. And the community is going to talk about, is that something that they've budgeted to correct over the next year or not? The next thing is there any pending litigation? You want to look at this for two reasons. Number one, it's going to make a difference on potential buyers' ability, whether that's yours or someone else's, ability to obtain financing to purchase within the HOA. And two, it goes back to the overall financial health of the HOA. And number three, you want to look at those meeting minutes to see, is there any past due HOA dues? Is there collection issues that HOA has been having with residents? This again makes a huge difference to the overall financial health of the HOA. Now, while I just went over three main bullet points and things to consider when purchasing in an HOA, as you can see, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's very important that you actually take the time to review these documents prior to purchasing. The great news is you don't have to do it alone. The best thing you can do is make sure to call a trusted realtor that's used to working within HOA communities and is familiar with these documents. Hopefully that's me, Andrea Lilienfeld with the K Grant Group, part of my home group real estate here in Scottsdale, Arizona.